Hi, I'm Sarah Meixel reporting for the cattle site, and today we're with Andrew Skidmore. He is a veterinarian with the global team with Merck Animal Health. And Andrew, today we wanted to just talk a little bit about you've got your fancy map up here, or calendar per se, but it's tis the season. We're going into the springtime. What are some of the things that cattlemen need to be thinking about going into spring and potentially into calving season and things?
Okay, one of the important things they need to be thinking about is parasite control, especially internal parasites. And on this graph here, across the bottom here, I've got represented here each month of the year, represented a 12-month time period. And then on this axis then is a parasite load, so the number of parasites that will be out on the pasture, on the grass, as it starts to green. So the red line here represents what normally happens if we don't do anything on our parasite loads. So if we don't do anything, the parasites that are residual, that overwinter on the grass and whatever may be in the cows when they start to come out on the grass, and as the temperature warms up in the springtime, then those larvae then come out from their rested stage in the wintertime. They become active. The cattle then, as they graze, become infected and reinfected. And if we don't do anything, this is a typical pattern of what our parasite load does. And it will go down in the wintertime, and a lot of people will worm their cattle then. But strategically, we can control this load on our pastures much better with strategic deworming. So in other words, if we're turning a cattle out here, and if we hit them with a dewormer, with a wormer, something like Safeguard, we hit them here with that. As soon as they're out on grass, say 3 weeks, come back 4 weeks later and hit. And then what we do, the load of parasites on the pasture then is represented by the green line, where they come up here and then we just knock them out. And then we're not reinfecting the pasture, and so then the load on the pasture stays relatively low throughout the whole growing season while they're out on grass.
So what about if you don't control this curve? What are the economic implications, and I guess the implications for the calves that are out with this?
So typically, what the biggest impact is on the baby calves, because they're young, they're more susceptible. The worms tend to migrate, do much greater damage in the young calves than they do in the older cows. So the impact through this whole time period, one of the biggest impacts is growth rate, so that they don't grow near as fast. And even if we just do it then, the parasite then will interfere with the health of the calf as it moves on to the next stage of its career. The health is impacted negatively. The response to vaccines is negatively because as the calf is trying to fight off the parasite load, it alters the immune system such that it's much less responsive to vaccines and other insults of disease or disease challenge.
Well, it sounds like for the Northern Hemisphere, this is certainly the time frame for producers to start thinking about getting these out. So.
Yes.
Great. Very good. Thanks so much, Andrew. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
This is Sarah Meixel reporting for thecattlesite.com.